Hi guys, Darren Thompson, week 43 of 2024. I wanted to start about a month ago, but I took some consultancy work that would take up most of my time for a month. I knew that was going to be the case, so I postponed it. Excuse the noise of the chair, it's not me. And at the end of the month, we finished certain things we were supposed to do, and there was a possibility that this consultancy work could become almost full-time employment. I wasn't 100% interested in full-time employment because I already have a business I'm running, but at the same time it was something I wanted to do, and I was prepared to consider it and just wait and see what happens. Now, the owner of the company made it particularly clear he would like to see him in the office as much as possible. I said from the very beginning of the project I will guarantee 50%, 20 hours a week, and it was more than likely going to be the latter part of the day, or maybe the middle, or sometimes the beginning, depending on what I need to be there for, who I need to speak to. The rest of the time I would be wanting to work from home. And this is primarily because my setup at home took over 15 years to develop. I've got my processes, I've got my equipment, I've got two of everything, 2 laptops, 2 phones, everything you can think of that I could possibly need 2 of or more, I have. And everything I have happens to be of particularly high quality. Printer, $1,000. MacBook Pro, 4,000 something. Everything is particularly expensive. I find myself working in an office where the room they gave me to share was like a jumbo-sized storage room, dust included, boxes everywhere. And that's where we needed to work. It was where everybody stored their stuff that they had nowhere else to put it. And it was quite a busy, noisy environment. So for someone to be able to think in there, it wasn't that easy. And so I made my opinion known, particularly early on, and they offered me an office, which is great. They give me an office downstairs, peace and quiet, take all of your equipment, put it in there, it's all fine. 2 weeks later, still no key. 3rd week, or 4th week rather, 3 weeks after they agreed to come to the office, it was mentioned that they didn't really want to give me a key, and if my stuff was expensive, don't really take it. Didn't make any sense whatsoever. And at the end of the project, I was offered an hourly rate, which was only 60% of the job that I had given up to work on this particular consultancy project. So I feel particularly beaten on this one. In the middle, I'd also agreed to be able to increase the number of hours I was working in the office by moving apartments, and I found an apartment a 4-minute walk away from their office, which would have made a difference. And on the day that I was supposed to be going there to secure the property, to pay the deposit, was the day that it was brought to my attention that any hour between 9 and 5 I'm not in the office will not be paid for. And I was made to feel it was a 9 to 5 job instead of a consultancy project, and it was no longer of interest. This was a fantastic eye-opener for me, because when I got back home that evening and I went to my office, I realized this wonderful, impeccable office that I was fighting for to use. You think about it, if you work out how much it cost me to work here and live here per day, to then go to a shithole and work there when I could be working here, would be absolutely ludicrous. But when I looked around the office, I realized, oh my God, I had been forced to not work the way I normally worked. I had been forced to drop everything and keep prioritizing these things which were not necessarily a priority. And it was affecting the quality of my output. So this morning, when I woke up, and I knew exactly what my expectation was for the day, I knew exactly what I was supposed to be working on. But I thought, I can't do it, because if I work with these blinkers on this one particular task, because I know for me, because of the projects I'm working on, this is a priority, I don't know what else I am missing. And I'm doing exactly what I'm telling everybody else not to. So I stopped everything. I went into my office and I started doing everything I had to do in about 2003 to set things up for scalability. And I started to do it from here. It was fantastic, actually. First thing I did was I sorted out a 90-year lifespan in weekly increments in a spreadsheet. I replicated the one I did in 2003. and I did a new one for today, just so that I could have that horror factor of seeing how many years that actually passed. The only difference was this time I put my retirement year, so I can see how many years I've got left. If you have a problem with performance and efficiency and motivation to getting to do things, I highly suggest you do this, but only if you're a God-fearing man or woman. Because if you're an atheist and you do this, it will just be depressing. You're literally counting the days until your numbers are up. However, if you are God-fearing, if you do believe in God, then it's just allowing you to pinpoint the different stages of your life and making sure you're on track. And for me, it's a godsend. It allows me to, when someone I work with is asking too much, to say no. I need family time. And it allows me to give up some of my family time sometimes because I need to prioritize on something to do with work. That will allow me to give my family a better quality of life. I almost didn't make this video today, by the way. When I ran out of time on Sunday, I thought, okay, start next Sunday. However, today, when I was speaking to a colleague of mine and we were talking about how we must really do what we say, and that's how we build our reputation, I realized I didn't want to have something else not done. Well, this is so quick, right? I sit here, I talk some words that I can reflect upon in the future. Not that long ago, I was trying to remember, when did I make my first website? And I couldn't for the life of me remember. However, from backtracking and processes of elimination, I was able to work out, and when did I sell my first website where I got significant money? It was about 2 years later, where the figure that came in made back. And if I'd been making these videos, I would have that information at hand. So I want to talk about things like what happened with Donald Trump. What happened with that crazy woman that he's up against? What's going on with AI right now that I can look back on and say, oh, I knew that's when Terminator was going to happen. What's Elon Musk doing? What am I thinking at this particular moment in time? Well, there were so many things I wanted to mention in this video that I wouldn't have time to mention it in the next video. And today is, I think today's Friday, which means in 2 days, I'll be doing the next video anyway for week 44. Oh, by the way, I was talking about AI. I started using AI properly for work about 2 years ago. Prior to that, when coming up with what we call fictitious names, or names that you create out of thin air, words that don't exist, I wrote in Python a little script that would go through all the permutations of consonant, vowel, and stick them all in a spreadsheet. And it was quite a bit of work. It took all but 15 minutes, but during those 15 minutes, I'm thinking, what do I have to do? Correct. When it came to using AI, I could literally speak to ChatGPT, give it all the variables within less than a minute, 60 seconds, and it spat out the answer. Holy cow. So from a statistics perspective, fantastic. When it comes to imagery, I had some fun blending Nike with Brogues and was absolutely stunned by the result. So I definitely want to have some fun in the future with AI. Am I scared of it? Absolutely. Do I think it means everyone's going to be out of a job? Absolutely not. Because if there's nobody to buy anything, nobody's going to make anything. AI can't buy anything. So I think things will be absolutely fine. I started making wine videos with an Austrian guy. This is today's little tipple. And there'll be a link in the description to a new website. It's so new, we only have 7 subscribers, where we taste wines primarily from Uzbekistan. But we do try wines because it's our opinion that we need to compare it to European wine and wine of the masses. So that's quite fun. I started a business this week where we're going to be selling products on Uzum, so I'm incredibly excited with that. Somebody I work with tried to do something on Uzum without knowing what to do. And they were already making a couple of thousand a month. They're doing everything badly. So badly, in fact, that if you were to take their way of doing things as the ideal way of not doing it and did the opposite, you'd probably do better. That's how ridiculous it is. And so knowing how much they made for doing very little, I'm incredibly excited to do something next week where we know how to make videos for commercials. We understand hooks. We understand where to put the explanation. We understand where to put the call to action. We understand how to profile and work out the demographic of who we want to sell to. We understand design, we understand marketing, we understand branding. So when you put all of this together, it's probably going to be incredibly successful. And if it isn't, we're going to have to find out why and fix it. Okay, this is my first video update for week 43. I look forward to getting back to you in 2 days for week 44. Thank you for listening.